It's August 6th, 1945, a warm summer morning over the Pacific Ocean. High above the B-29 superfortress Enola Gay, piloted by Colonel Paul Tibbets, cruises at 31,000 feet, its silver fuselage glinting in the dawn. Inside, a crew of 12, including bombardier Thomas Farabee and weaponeer William Parsons, prepare to drop Little Boy, a 9,700-pound uranium bomb, the first atomic weapon used in war. Below lies Hiroshima, a bustling Japanese city of 350,000, its residents unaware of the cataclysm about to strike. In Washington, President Harry S. Truman, aboard the USS Augusta, awaits news knowing this mission could end World War II or unleash a new era of destruction. Welcome to Vestige Files, where we unearth the pivotal moments that shaped history. This is the story of the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, a tale of scientific triumph, moral agony, and a world forever changed by the power of the atom. To understand this seismic event, we must rewind to the early 20th century when science unlocked the atom's secrets. In 1938, German physicists Otto Hahn and Fritz Strassmann discovered nuclear fission, splitting uranium atoms to release immense energy. As World War II erupted, the Allies feared Nazi Germany would harness this power for a superweapon. In 1939, Albert Einstein and Leo Szilard, alarmed by Germany's advances, urged President Franklin D. Roosevelt to fund atomic research. The result was the Manhattan Project, a top-secret U.S.-led effort launched in 1942, costing $2 billion, over $30 billion in 2025 dollars. Under physicist J. Robert Oppenheimer, 130,000 workers at sites like Los Alamos, New Mexico, and Oak Ridge, Tennessee, raced to build an atomic bomb. By 1945, the world was weary from 6 years of war. The Allies had defeated Nazi Germany in May, but Japan fought on despite devastating losses. The Pacific Campaign, from Pearl Harbor to Okinawa, had killed millions, with Japan's military regime vowing to resist to the last man. The U.S., led by Roosevelt until his death in April 1945, then by Truman, faced a grim choice: invade Japan's mainland, risking up to 1 million Allied casualties, or seek a quicker end. The Manhattan Project offered a radical solution. On July 16, 1945, the first atomic bomb, Gadget, detonated at Trinity Site in New Mexico, its 21-kiloton blast equivalent to 21,000 tons of TNT. Oppenheimer, watching the fireball, quoted the Bhagavad Gita, "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds." The decision to use the bomb rested with Truman, a plain-spoken Missourian thrust into leadership. Advised by Secretary of War Henry Stimson and General Leslie Groves, Truman saw the bomb as a way to force Japan's surrender without invasion. The Potsdam Declaration, issued July 26, 1945, demanded Japan's unconditional surrender, warning of prompt and utter destruction. Japan's Prime Minister Kantaro Suzuki rejected it, citing mokusatsu, a term interpreted as silent contempt. Truman, at the Potsdam Conference with Winston Churchill and Joseph Stalin, approved the bombings targeting Hiroshima, a military hub, and Nagasaki, an industrial port. The stage was set for a moral and strategic gamble, as scientists like Szilard, who now opposed using the bomb, were overruled by military urgency. On August 6, 1945, at 8:15 a.m., the Enola Gay released Little Boy over Hiroshima. The bomb fell for 44 seconds, detonating 1,900 feet above the Aioi Bridge. A blinding flash and 15-kiloton explosion obliterated the city center. Temperatures reached 7,000 degrees Celsius, vaporizing people instantly. A shock wave flattened buildings within a 2-mile radius, and fires consumed wooden homes. Shizuko Abe, a 19-year-old schoolgirl, was 1.5 miles from the epicenter, her skin burned by the heat, one of 80,000 killed instantly. Another 60,000 died later from burns, radiation, and injuries. Hiroshima's hospitals, like the Red Cross Hospital where Dr. Michihiko Hachiya worked, were overwhelmed, with 90% of doctors dead or injured. Japan's leaders, stunned, struggled to grasp the weapon's power. Emperor Hirohito and the Supreme War Council debated surrender, But hardliners, led by General Korochika Anami, insisted on fighting. On August 9th at 11:02 a.m., a second B-29 boxcar piloted by Major Charles Sweeney dropped Fat Man, a 21-kiloton plutonium bomb, on Nagasaki. Cloud cover forced a last-minute target shift to the city's Urakami Valley, a Catholic enclave. The blast killed 40,000 instantly, with 35,000 more dying later. Tsutomu Yamaguchi, a 29-year-old engineer, survived both bombings, having been in Hiroshima on business and returning to Nagasaki before the second attack. His story of survival, though rare, underscored the indiscriminate horror. The bombings unleashed chaos. In Hiroshima, survivors known as hibakusha wandered a wasteland of rubble and corpses, their skin peeling from radiation burns. Dr. Hachiya, despite injuries, treated patients in his shattered hospital, noting symptoms of acute radiation syndrome: nausea, hair loss, internal bleeding. In Nagasaki, Father Wilhelm Kleinsor, a Jesuit priest, aided survivors amidst collapsed churches and factories. Japan's government, crippled by poor communication, initially underestimated the damage. The U.S. dropped leaflets warning of more bombings, though no third bomb was ready. Meanwhile, the Soviet Union declared war on Japan on August 8th, invading Manchuria and complicating Japan's position. The moral conflict was as intense as the physical destruction. In the U.S., Truman justified the bombings, believing they saved lives by avoiding an invasion. Stimson estimated 400,000 to 800,000 U.S. casualties in a ground war, with millions of Japanese deaths. Yet scientists like Einstein and Szilard condemned the bombings, arguing a demonstration on an uninhabited island could have sufficed. In Japan, civilians like Setsuko Thurlow, a 13-year-old Hiroshima survivor, later spoke of the human toll. Her schoolmates burned alive. The bombing's necessity divided even the Allies. Churchill supported them, but Admiral William Leahy called them barbarous. The world watched, horrified yet relieved, as the war's end neared, but at a cost that challenged humanity's conscience. On August 15, 1945, Emperor Hirohito addressed Japan via radio, a first for the Divine Monarch. His voice, frail but resolute, announced surrender, citing the new and most cruel bomb. Japan formally signed the surrender on September 2nd aboard the USS Missouri, ending World War II. The atomic bombings, combined with Soviet invasion and Japan's dwindling resources, broke the military's resistance. General Anami, opposing surrender, committed seppuku after Hirohito's broadcast. The U.S. occupied Japan, led by General Douglas MacArthur, demilitarizing the nation and drafting a democratic constitution by 1947. The human cost was staggering. Hiroshima's death toll reached 140,000 by December 1945, Nagasaki's 74,000, with thousands more dying from radiation-related illnesses over decades. Survivors like Sadako Sasaki, a 12-year-old Hiroshima girl, became symbols of resilience, folding 1,000 paper cranes before dying of leukemia in 1955. Hibakusha faced stigma, shunned for fear of radiation contagion, yet many like Thurlow became peace advocates. In Hiroshima, the Genbaku Dome, a skeletal ruin near Ground Zero, stood as a memorial, while Nagasaki's Peace Park honored its dead. Medical studies led by groups like the Atomic Bomb Casualty Commission tracked survivors, revealing radiation's long-term effects, cancers, cataracts, and birth defects. The bombings reshaped the world. The U.S. emerged as a superpower, its atomic monopoly, until the Soviet test in 1949, defining the Cold War. The United Nations, formed in 1945, sought to prevent future global conflicts, while the nuclear arms race accelerated, with 70,000 warheads by the 1980s. The bombings sparked ethical debates. Truman defended them as military necessity, but historians like Gar Alperovitz argued Japan was near surrender, citing intercepted cables. The atomic age transformed warfare. Mutually assured destruction, MAD, deterred direct U.S.-Soviet conflict, but fueled proxy wars. Culturally, the bombings inspired works like John Hersey's Hiroshima, 1946, a searing account of 6 survivors, and Godzilla films, metaphors for nuclear fear. Resilience shone through. In Hiroshima, Dr. Fumio Shigeto rebuilt the Red Cross Hospital, treating hibakusha despite shortages. In Nagasaki, Takashi Nagai, a radiologist and convert to Christianity, wrote The Bells of Nagasaki, urging peace from his deathbed. Globally, scientists like Andrei Sakharov, a Soviet physicist, pushed for disarmament, while activists like Nobel laureate Linus Pauling campaigned against nuclear testing. By 1963, the Partial Test Ban Treaty limited atmospheric tests, spurred by fallout fears from Hiroshima's cesium-137. Today, Hiroshima and Nagasaki thrive, their peace museums drawing 2 million visitors yearly, though North Korea's nuclear ambitions and geopolitical tensions revive old fears. The atomic bombings were a turning point, ending a war but birthing an era of existential risk. They showcased human ingenuity. Oppenheimer's team harnessed the atom in 3 years, but also humanity's capacity for destruction. Were the bombings a necessary evil to end World War II, or a moral failing that scarred the world's conscience? Could diplomacy have averted the tragedy? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If this dive into the atomic age moved you, hit that like button, subscribe to Vestige Files, and ring the bell for more stories of history's turning points.